Yeah, do you even internet, bro?
Xbox on.
Game on, baby! Wow!
Don't make a girl a promise you can't keep.
Let's do this.
Hello and welcome to Xbox One Party Chat Podcast, the official podcast of the Xbox One subreddit. I'm your host for this week, Ross Miller, and I'm joined by Jesus Christ himself. It's Rhys.
Hello.
And not to the left, not to the right, he's firmly in central, it's Jez Corden.
Oh, I like that introduction. That was pretty clever.
That was great.
Off the top of my head.
Like,
So, in a week where more happened than last week, to be fair. If you survived last week's episode and you're back to listen again, we've got a little bit of a more packed episode this week. And we usually start it with what we've been playing. So, Jez, as our guest, what have you been playing this week?
well, usually I'm just like playing a game, reviewing it, moving on to the next game, but I haven't been reviewing anything this week, so I've actually been able to play games for fun for a change.
Wow.
I've gone all the way back to my backlog that started accumulating last summer when, all the games that came out like in the fall and winter just created this massive backlog. So I've gone all the way back and I've started playing XCOM 2 again. I absolutely love XCOM. It's one of my favorite games and I absolutely adore XCOM 2. So I've been playing that again. If you're not familiar with it, it's a turn-based strategy game where you have to basically fend off an alien invasion on Earth on a global scale. It's got procedurally generated levels and there's so many different kinds of progression. It's so involved and so deep and I absolutely adore it.
Have you been getting your ass kicked?
Yes, it's really hard to. I've had to start over a couple of times because I just mismanage my resources and that sort of thing. But it's so satisfying when you are succeeding and you are trying to stay ahead of the curve because the enemy progresses and upgrades as fast as you do, or often faster if you're not playing very efficiently. And that's part of the stress of the game is trying to keep ahead of the enemy's progression, and the game throws new enemies at you and the enemies get upgrades themselves, new weapons, and all of a sudden giant robots are coming at you and it's like, oh my god, I've just got this upgrade and now they're throwing this at me. It's really exciting, even though it is turn-based. It's like one of the most stressful games you can play on Xbox One, but in a good way.
Was it you I saw on Twitter saying that the key to surviving the game is to name your favorite character after Major Nelson? Or someone saying that to you?
Jeff, I think it's Jeff Rubenstein said that to me.
Yeah. That was it.
Yeah, Jeff Rubenstein said that to me. Name all your characters after Major Nelson or something. He's a funny guy.
What else has you been playing this week, Jez?
I've been playing Ghost Recon Wildlands on and off with a friend, and it's not really that fun. I don't think. I reviewed it last week. I gave it 7 out of 10, which was controversial with some people, but I just feel like the game just doesn't innovate. It's just like a third-person Far Cry. The game does literally nothing new. And I just find myself getting horribly bored with it when I play, and so I've been playing that a little bit. I mean, it's impressive in some ways. Like the world is just so impressive when you're flying up in a helicopter and there's lightning and rain and all that stuff, and it's like, wow, that's really impressive. But then it's like you get down to the ground and it's like, go here, kill this guy, do it again for 50 hours. It's just. I'm just tired of the Ubisoft format, kind of.
I was really hoping that you had been given a review copy of Mass Effect Andromeda.
I haven't, actually. EA doesn't like me. I don't know why.
Oh.
But it's always like, yeah, if anyone from EA is listening to this, why do you hate me? It's always like a massive struggle to get review copies from EA. It's like this really uphill battle, And I've pre-ordered the game already, so it's not like a case of, oh, give me free stuff. It's more of a case of I need access, because if my review ships 3 or 4 days after IGN's, no one's going to care. So I pre-ordered the game myself. Like, I have to, because it's Mass Effect. I love Mass Effect, and I'm sort of terrified. I love the game. I love the franchise so much that I'm terrified the new one's going to suck. So
I know exactly
I'm just
how you feel.
Yeah, it's like you're too close to the action. So I felt this way when leading up to the Phantom Pain as well, because I'm a huge Metal Gear Solid fan, and I had to review Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain, and I was like, no, this is all wrong, So I'm worried it's going to be another one of those kind of. But
to be fair, if it
we'll
sucks,
see.
it's just followed on from the rest of the series.
Oh, Ross, no, go away. You're not welcome here anymore.
Russ is fired.
Yeah. But someone else has to do the editing.
I know. I'm only here because I can edit a podcast. That's the only reason why. Rhys, what have you been playing?
So, the only thing that my Xbox has been playing this week is Netflix. And last week, because I brought a Nintendo Switch at launch, as I mentioned that I was going to do, and Zelda is a thing that happened. And it has continued to happen. I have logged about just under 40 hours, which is huge for me, because I hardly have time to game. I have not been this addicted to a game since I was a teenager. I hate open world games. I can't remember the last one I really enjoyed, but I keep coming back to this one, and it's awesome. And I also played a couple of other launch games too, like Snipper Clips and Fast RMX. By the way, if anyone liked F-Zero or like Wipeout 2097, you should probably play Fast RMX. It's quite good.
What about that milking game? There's a game where you have to milk a cow.
You saw that?
I want that game.
1-2 Switch. I had a launch party here at my house, and there's one of the games I have is 1-2 Switch, and it's like a collection of about 30 odd random, ridiculous mini games that basically involve you making an ass of yourself, and one of them is you have to hold, like, you and a friend have to sit face to face and make the action of milking a cow's udder, and it counts how much milk you get, and it's great. And there's another one that makes you like do runway walks, and there's like quick draw, and the weirdest one is where you hold the Switch like a baby, and it's like there's a crying baby on the screen, and you have to like rock it to sleep and then very gently put it down on a flat surface, like the whole Switch, very gently on a flat surface as not to wake the baby, and you can't make any loud noises, and it's
that's crazy.
It's insane.
Someone sat there coding that.
Yeah, but it's really funny at a party, like it's not something that you play on your own, but when you've got a bunch of young adults and there's alcohol and good times involved, then yeah, it's basically a glorified tech demo, and it just encourages you to make an ass of itself. One thing that is cool though is there's one mini game where see, I thought the new controllers would just be a gimmick, this HD Rumble. Who thought that name up? HD Rumble. I only like my Rumble in 1080p. But anyway, there's one game where you have to count, like basically you have to imagine the controller as a box, and inside the box is rolling around a certain amount of balls. And honest to God, you can actually, it feels like there's little balls rolling around inside the controller, and it's incredible. Like you have to feel it to believe it.
So let me get this straight. If you want to feel balls and also do the motion of milking a cow, you want to buy a Nintendo Switch?
Basically, yes.
Fantastic. I'll be sure to do that. Also, you've not really spoke about the thing that you've been playing this week. Everyone, I think, wants to know, how is Netflix?
Netflix is okay. I really don't like the new patch, like the newest updates, the stuff that they've patched in. I preferred vanilla, the vanilla release of Netflix on the Xbox One. I really quite liked the way it was designed.
Superb. Now, I've been dying to talk about a game for weeks, but there's been an NDA.
Oh, finally.
So this game's called Death Squared. Have any of you had a chance to check it out?
It's not called Zelda,
I've got
so
a key
no.
for it. I've got a key for it, but I haven't installed it yet. But it looks really cool. It's like a puzzle game with blocks. You have to push each other off an edge or something.
So the idea is you're just 2 blocks and you have to get your block to its corresponding colour through many different puzzles. I think there's 80 puzzles in total for it. I've had the game for a couple of weeks and I've not been able to talk about it. And I haven't had this much co-op fun since Overcooked.
Ooh.
I'm putting it in that same category. Maybe not as cute, but it certainly is as fun. It's got those infuriating sections where, you know, you're not quite sure what to go. And I've mentioned this before, there is a eureka moment when you solve a puzzle in your head, and it's one of the most satisfying things that you can do when you and your one other person, or up to 4 people in total, actually solve the puzzle. You really, really get a full-on sense of accomplishment. And I couldn't stop playing it. I really, really couldn't stop playing it for the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
I see.
Yep.
Well, I need to use my key then, I think.
I would say I don't know how much fun it would be in single player, but I've always just played it with my wife, and my son even joined in at one point. The sort of 4-player missions, but yeah, it's just a lot of fun. You know, there needs to be more local couch co-op or local multiplayer games on the Xbox so that we can get moments like this and Overcooked and split screen like Rocket League. These are what games are for.
Someone on Twitter asked us to put together a roundup of the best local co-op games on Xbox, and I was trying to find some, and there are some really good ones out there, but there's not that many really.
Not as many as I'd like. That's the whole reason I bought a Wii U last gen, just so I could have more local multiplayer.
Calm down, Rhys. Off you pop to Hello Nintendo.
What? Oh yeah, that's right. I was just talking about Nintendo.
So this generation, I would say highlights for me are that, of course, Overcooked. There was the game where you go the girl and the dog. Never Alone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was quite good. And Guacamole. What? What are you laughing at?
Nothing. That's
right, okay.
That's exactly how you say that word.
Super Turbo Edition or whatever it is. These are the games that I've played with my wife, and thought they were absolutely great. But
if you want a great couch co-op game that's really deep and involved, check out Divinity Original Sin if you haven't before.
See, I was thinking that. So would you recommend it?
It's a turn-based, like there's a theme. I really like turn-based strategy games, but it's a 2-player co-op, split screen, turn-based RPG, and it's absolutely amazing. It's light-hearted and slightly comedic and stuff. So you can argue over the decisions you make in the RPG. Like if, say for example, you're playing with your wife and she doesn't want to choose the path that you want to choose. You can rock paper scissors for it if you can't resolve the argument, and the winner gets to choose that, and it creates these really dynamic moments. And I mean, and it's got online co-op as well. And I was playing Divinity Original Sin with my friend across Xbox Live, and it's so hilarious when you get these moments. And we found this near the start of the game. There's this talking clam, and
of course there is.
Yeah. Of course there is, and there's this talking clam, and he's like, help me get back into the sea and I'll give you a reward. And one of the other options is let's take the clam and sell it to a merchant. And we were arguing over what to do with this clam. And we end up killing the clam or something, but with neglect or something like that. It was really, really funny. But yeah, and the combat's really cool as well. You have a party of 4 players, and each person controls 2 of the characters, and you can like formulate strategies on how to approach the battle and stuff, flanking targets and using magic and sword and shield and all that sort of stuff, all that sort of RPG stuff. But it is quite hard, and it is quite an investment. It's not like, you know, Overcooked, where you pick up and play for 5 minutes. It's the closest thing you can get to full blown Dungeons and Dragons on Xbox Live, probably, I would say. So definitely check out Divinity Original Sin if you're a fan of RPGs and couch co-op. It's the best on the console.
Well, I'll be sure to do that.
What I want to ask before we move on is, have you played Pit People?
No, that's another game that's in my backlog.
Pit People, because it is exactly the same thing. Basically, it is 2-player, turn-based tactical strategy, but with the behemoth, their sense of humor.
Yeah,
who may or may not be coming to the podcast sometime soon.
Ooh.
not so subtle plug there. That we're gonna have them on the podcast.
Well, guys, will we find out what's been happening in the subreddit this week?
You're listening to Xbox One Party Chat Podcast. This week in the subreddit.
So, this week in the subreddit, Jez Corden from Windows Central dropped a major story, but we're going to leave that to the end.
Who's that?
No idea.
That sounds like a nobody.
Rhys, what's been happening in the subreddit this week?
So, the very first note we have here has been, for some reason, put in extremely large text, so it must be important. And that is that the Xbox backwards compatibility program head of has made a statement. This was posted by user Deadly Name. The statement is very, 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 very long. And I'm not going to read this verbatim, but the TLDR is stop asking for Black Ops 2.
Yeah. Basically that is it.
So to be more serious, essentially Microsoft has said, yes, we know there's lots of games that you want, but, you know, basically we don't have direct control over publishers, and it's not as simple as just throwing the games that you want out on the shelves. You know, it's complicated. So licenses have to be re-signed. You know, certain licensing deals may have expired. You know, music, for example. One of the biggest problems porting everyone's favorite old game from the Xbox, original Xbox, Jet Set Radio Future, was the music licensing rights, which have expired and cannot simply be ported over. So there's a lot of moving parts in getting a backwards compatible game to work, and he laid that out in a gigantic wall of text.
I kind of feel like it's going to have the opposite of the intended effect.
Oh yeah. Never be honest with the internet.
Yeah, I feel, because like, I don't know if you guys follow, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but like people spam EA's Instagram account with Skate 4 all day, every day in the comments section. It's like,
really?
Yeah, go and check it out. I don't know if they still do it now, but at least like months ago, they were doing it for months. They were spamming the comment section with just Skate 4, Skate 4, Skate 4. Hundreds of people, and it was like a meme, you know. And this is going to become a meme now. And and now that they've come out with this statement saying, please stop asking for Black Ops 2, people kind of ramp it up now. And it's kind of like, oh, this is the thing that people do, and it's clearly getting a reaction. Let's do it some more, you know.
It's already become a bit of an in-joke on our sub, people asking Larry for Black Ops, and he gets really mad, and he's actually sassed quite a few people on the subreddit in pretty amusing ways.
Yeah, I think a good percentage of the people asking for it at this point are probably just trolling. You know,
yeah.
You know, it's so I do think this statement's gonna have the opposite of the intended effect.
My favorite gaming novelty Twitter account is the Half-Life 3 checker. And the account is called "Is Half-Life 3 Out Yet?" And it just keeps, like, every day it just posts no like that. It's been going for years.
Also, guys, I hope you're ready to sing. In the UK, and Australia, today, as in Tuesday, the Xbox turned 15. Are we going to sing it happy birthday?
No.
Oh.
Or as they would say in Australia, nah, mate. She's all right.
Twice when I was in Los Angeles, someone asked me if I was from Australia because they couldn't peg my accent because they'd only heard Harry Potter English, not West Midlands English, and they thought, what is that accent? That must be Australian.
See,
I think from the West Midlands, people shouldn't be allowed to leave the UK just to stop the rest of the world.
See, it's not even Australia. It's Australia, mate. I'll have you blokes know that I'm actually half Australian, so I can use the accent all I want, no matter how terrible I actually sound when I try and sound Australian. I can talk like this because it's right there on my passport, all right? How's that? Is that all right?
That's pretty
good. Dropped on 19 Australian listeners from the podcast.
Yes.
Like, they're gone. They're not coming back, Rhys, so thanks very much for that. We already don't have any Welsh people listening because of you and Clay trying to imitate voiceover lady. But anyway, so happy birthday to the UK and Australian version of the Xbox. We all remember when The Rock introduced the console 15 years ago when I was 6. Let's pretend that that's the case. And
that was a genuine what?
That threw me. I was like, wait.
And here's to hoping to many more years of Xbox consoles to keep us all happy and Jez in a job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next
if I lose this job, I'm screwed.
He can't count on Windows phones anymore.
Just go now for the
It's coming back, man. It's coming back. Just wait till the Surface phone.
Oh, wait. But before we move on, just the other day, Emma from Rare sent me a PM on Twitter. We talk from time to time. Emma said that she had just listened to caught up on a few episodes of the podcast because she'd been busy and hadn't had time to do so. And she's a regular listener. Hi, Emma. And she likes to give feedback. And she said that she was listening with her husband, and her husband now knows me as, quote, that guy who likes Windows Phone. That's who I am to her husband. So.
Tell her there's at least 15 of us.
Yes, at least.
At least.
So anyway, also in the subreddit this week, Rocket League has passed 10.5 million sales across all platforms. And Psyonix have explained that no sequel is going to be coming soon. And at the Rocket League Championship Series at the weekend, they also announced Drop Shot, which is a new mode coming for free next week. And all of that was posted by user Flappy Happy 123. I hope that's their gamer tag, and then I come across them in Rocket League. But yeah, Rocket League, the game that keeps on giving, guys. What do you think?
Rocket League is kind of a phenomenon. I think it's really interesting that they basically released the same game a long time ago, but with a really awkward, horrible name, and then they
Super Mega Ultra Racing Explosion Cars or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
If you do a key combination in the intro screen, it'll start playing the original theme song.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I got a bit of trivia for you right here, because someone who works for Windows Central, Mr. Koenig, he is our, I don't know what his official job title is. He's our growth hacker, but he hates that term. So whatever a growth hacker's real job is, it's his job. It's his job to monetize our content, basically.
Okay.
But he does all sorts of other things. He's like this uber elite programmer, database extraordinaire guy, and but he used to be a game developer, and he made a game on the Super Nintendo called Street Racer. I don't know if either of you guys have ever heard about this game, but it was it was a very, very early sort of arena racing game with sort of fighting and stuff. But it also had a football mode that is very similar to Rocket League. So I'm almost certain that Rocket League guys ripped off Street Racer because it was a pretty popular game. So there you go. Check out Street Racer on YouTube, the football mode, and tell me there's not similarities. So the guy who works for Windows Central is responsible for Rocket League. That's what I'm getting at. Might be a little far-fetched, but I like to think that because he's a really cool guy, and it's a really good game.
Right. Also, this week, some writer from some website announced that Project Scorpio, or more Project Scorpio details, that, of course, was Jez Corden from Windows Central. So, you wrote the article here that has got the subreddit talking. Rhys did have to give it the rumour tag, of course, until everything is confirmed.
Yes, we do have a obligation to basically pretend that we are not hyped out of our brain, just like the rest of you. But it's true. In fact, the first thing I did was go straight to Jez on Twitter and start complaining about the fact that he was leaking this stuff and basically causing uncomfortable and undesired erections at inappropriate times. So yeah, it's got the subreddit.
And we've got a title for this podcast. Jez, take it away. Give me some of the highlights of the article that you wrote and some of the things that you know.
Okay, so basically, the past couple of weeks we discovered that Project Scorpio will use 4K resolution versions to create supersampling on 1080p TVs. So like games that have 4K assets, because when a game downloads on Scorpio, it checks what assets to unpack. If it's on Xbox One S, it unpacks the 1080p assets. If it's on Scorpio, it unpacks the 4K assets. But if you've got a 1080p TV and you're unpacking the 4K assets, you're going to get this super sampling mode, which should make the edges of models look smoother. It should make the image look better. The document that I got, and all this came from a document, it just said 1080p TVs will benefit from greater than 1080p images thanks to super sampling, basically. And so that was the first bit of stuff we leaked, and then we found out that Project Scorpio will have an internal power supply unit, which is kind of a given that the Surface team are involved now, and they've set a precedent with the Xbox One S. So UHD Blu-rays on the way, internal power bricks on the way. It's gonna have a sleek Xbox One S style design. It's not gonna have like an 80s VCR design like the original Xbox One.
I like the 80s VCR design.
Yeah, so do I. But I just remember those complaints, Yeah. So it's gonna have that. It's gonna have that aesthetic, I believe. Additionally, we also discovered that it's going to have HEVC codec, which the Xbox One does have as well, but only for decoding video. But Scorpio is going to have it for encoding video for game DVR. So 4K videos, in-game DVR, 4K clips, 4K 60. That is specifically, I didn't just assume it was 60. It says 2160p, 60 frames per second game DVR. That's what it says in the document.
What that means is it's going to be like, Xbox, record that, and it's going to go bloop, and then there's going to be a second pop-up saying your hard drive is now full.
Yeah, this is the interesting thing. Now this document is legit. The one that I've got is 100% legit, and I know it's legit.
We're saying it's a rumor.
Yeah. But this is the thing. The document's legit, but what we've seen, I'm still nervous about it though, because what we've seen happen in the past, we've received a document from extremely reliable source, but the document itself was either a draft or the document was wrong, or maybe even the document was like a red herring to screw us over. I don't know, but I'm like 95% sure this information is accurate, but there are questions there, like, are the 4K clips going to destroy my hard drive? I mean, there's a limit on the amount of space that you can use to store clips in the cloud as well. Like my game DVR in the cloud is full all the time, which is a nightmare. So they're going to be expanding that storage. You know, it's like the latest HEVC codec, which encodes video in as small as format as possible, like without. Like back in the day, if you wanted that kind of resolution, you were looking at like gigabytes and gigabytes of file size. But with the latest codecs and advancements in that space, the file sizes aren't as big as they used to be. So there is that question about the storage, but the possibilities are really exciting because 4K capture cards are not only really rare, but they're really, really expensive, especially compared to like HD capture cards like an Elgato, you know. And so Scorpio could become a serious game DVR tool for content creators if there was no information in the document about whether it would let you record past the current cap, which I think, 15 minutes, I think, on the Xbox One.
Something
So,
like that.
yeah. And also, it'd give it a feature that PS4 Pro doesn't have, a bit of extra differentiation there, because the PS4 Pro only records 1080p footage. So, if it does turn out to be completely accurate, fingers crossed, because if it doesn't, I'm going to look like an idiot. But if it does turn out to be accurate, then it's going to be a bigger deal than people think and take credit for, or some people take credit for anyway. I think Xbox fans understand that, and that's why it got a lot of hype. But you know, some not a lot of sites picked it up. They didn't want to cover it. I suppose they probably think we're not a very trustworthy source because, you know, Windows Central is not a mainstream gaming site. We're known for phones, you know, and we're known for phones and we're known for Windows. So maybe they don't think we're that legitimate as a source. But no, not GameSpot and IGN didn't pick the news up. So I don't know if they've heard different, or if they verified different with their sources, or they just think that we're not trustworthy or something. But I'm 95% sure it's legit. 95%. So,
how much hassle on Twitter did you get last week to release this information?
Well, I kind of learned my lesson because, you know, I'm no professional journalist here. I'm just a guy with a keyboard who looked out. And I'm sort of learning as I go here. So when I initially got this information, I went into hype mode myself, and I tweeted something like, "Oh my god, Scorpio info is great." You know, I was totally in this hype haze because, you know, I'm still an Xbox fan at the end of the day.
Winky face.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I tweeted that out, and then NeoGAF picked it up, and they were like, "Oh god, Jez is teasing stuff," and all these people were like, there was this like massive thread on NeoGAF, all people trying to discredit me and saying all this stuff about me, people that I've never met, and it's like, it's surreal, you know. It's like, what the hell did I ever do to you guys, you know?
That's the gaff, man.
Yeah, but I learned my lesson, so I didn't hype up the 4K game DVR stuff because, I just kind of learnt my lesson. I need to be like a little bit more restrained and professional when it comes to this stuff, maybe. And my editor-in-chief tells me this stuff as well. You know, like, because he's been doing this for years, leaking Windows stuff for years, you know. Like, Windows Central used to like leak all the phones ahead of time, and we leak a lot of Windows stuff. I'm going to leak some more Windows Xbox stuff this week too.
That's an exclusive expose.
There's no rush. The leaks that I've got left over, because I've still got some more to post that, you know, I do my best to verify them, do due diligence, because, you know, I don't want to destroy my reputation by posting fake information. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I do as much checking as I can about these sorts of rumors. So one of the leaks that I'm going to post this week is pretty much 100% definite. That this is regarding new features for Xbox One games, which is going to be pretty amazing for some people. The other leak that I really am struggling to verify is to do with what games will be true 4K on Scorpio. So that's the big one that I'm really hesitant to leak, because if it doesn't turn out to be true, then, you know, it will lead to genuine disappointment. I think, like, if it's kind of like the game DVR isn't 4K, that's not such a big deal. But if I say like this game's going to be 4K and it's not 4K, not only does it lead to disappointment, but it also like it puts Microsoft in a position where I've created an expectation that Microsoft can't deliver, so it causes an issue for Microsoft there as well, which is a big one, yeah, which is something I definitely don't want to do when I leak this stuff.
Well, one thing I will ask, which is nice and vague about this potential list of games, is it's a list of like upcoming games that will be 4K, or is it a list of games that will be upgraded to 4K?
It's a list of unreleased games that are going to be in 4K.
That's juicy, if true. No wonder you can't verify that.
Games that actually no. There are 2 games that haven't been announced, which are obviously on the way.
Yeah.
Which aren't a surprise, and there's 4 games on the list which are obviously on the way, and that haven't been announced. But
I'm pretty sure they cancelled the Halo and Forza series. I'm pretty sure they're never happening again.
Well,
right?
I'm gonna say right now, Halo's not on the list.
Oh,
there's no Halo on the list, on my list, and there might be on Mark's. I also think the list that I got's incomplete as well, because it sort of cuts off in the middle of some text, but so this isn't the full list that I've got. It's really hard to explain, but
the guy was killed while halfway through stealing the list.
Yeah, maybe
he's in a ditch somewhere.
I don't know, but some of the games that are on the list are pretty huge, big deal. Shadow of War level. Oh my god, yes, please, 4K for that game. But I just really want to be sure that it's real before I post it, basically. So don't get your hopes up.
Can I just ask, like, you said yourself, you're a person in front of a keyboard that got lucky. That's how you describe yourself. What's it like publishing these things with that fear that you're going to get lambasted on the gaff and Microsoft Press unhappy with you and all the rest of it? Is that a constant worry? Is that an up-and-coming journalist as such? Or?
Well, the first time... What was the first thing? When I posted the NPD figures for December and January. Was it January? Or was it November? I don't know. I posted NPD figures. No, I posted NPD figures for November or December. And the reaction to the November figures was really bad, because the narrative was Sony have won November, blah blah blah. They've won Black Friday, blah blah blah, and all that stuff. And then someone from the industry gave me a copy of the actual figures, and it was like Sony won, but it was like neck and neck. I think it was November. It might have been December. I don't know. But they were neck and neck. There was like 15,000 units or 30,000 units in difference. So I was like, I want to write about this, because that is a different narrative to Sony destroyed Microsoft. It's more like they are pretty much competing neck and neck in the holiday season, which was something I really wanted to put across. And some Sony fans took it like I was trying to attack their favorite bit of plastic, and some of them were really horrible about it. Like there was this massive thread.
I heard someone gave Breath of the Wild 7 out of 10 the other day.
Yeah,
literally unplayable. I actually went and burned my copy as soon as I read that.
I ate mine.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I have licked the cartridge, and it is the worst tasting stuff you can possibly imagine.
Oh my God. Why did you lick it?
Because everyone else was doing it. The other kids pressured me, Mom. No, but seriously, I was curious.
It's on that YouTube door.
It's coated with a special kind of bitterant that's designed to make it taste like the worst possible thing you can imagine. Apparently they put it on people's fingernails who have like a psychotic addiction to biting their nails, to make you not want to do it, and it's just awful.
So anyway, let's go back to Jez getting slaughtered online.
Oh yeah, that's more fun.
I just had a few nasty comments on Twitter and Reddit and stuff, but Jim Sterling's website's getting DDoS'd and people are sending him death threats and all this stuff. I didn't get any death threats, so it's like I'm sitting there feeling really sorry for myself because some people said a couple of nasty things, but then like, and it freaks you out, But then a day later, it's kind of like, it's not the worst thing that could happen, So, and then I went again to December, and the same thing happened. But I was like, grew thicker skin, and then, But yeah, when it comes to, but the thing is that the things I was leaking there wasn't going to piss off Microsoft, obviously, because it made them look good, So, but then when it came to leaking the Scorpio stuff, there is that worry that it's like either the information isn't 100% accurate, or my information is incorrect, and I'm going to create a PR problem for Microsoft when I've created an expectation now that Microsoft has to fulfill, basically, if the information isn't real, that is. The thing is, nobody from Microsoft has really... I think that if the information was really incorrect, I think someone from... Because I am pretty close to Microsoft PR, and, I've met them all. They invited me to Redmond in October and stuff. And I do speak to Aaron occasionally, and people from the PR team, I speak to them quite a lot, and I'm on pretty good terms with them. I do think if this information was damaging in any way, they would have been in touch and probably would have been like, look, can you stop doing this, blah, blah, blah. But the way I see it is that last week the Switch came out, and the week before that Horizon Zero Dawn came out, and I just, like, anecdotally, there was a lot of soul searching in the Xbox community on Twitter, and Twitter influences a lot of what I do in the Xbox community on Twitter, because I use Twitter a lot, and also on Reddit. I read the comments and I think about like how people are reacting. So I kind of wanted to inject some positivity into proceedings, because a lot of people were down that PlayStation had this great exclusive and Nintendo Switch has got this great exclusive, and Halo Wars 2 is a great game, but it's kind of niche, and a lot of people just sitting here waiting for Scorpio information. So I thought it wasn't going to be such a big issue if I posted these little snippets of information.
See, you're using nice words to describe how everyone was feeling on Reddit, but you said that it looked like they were doing soul searching. That's only the comments that we left alive. There was plenty of stuff that I wouldn't describe as soul searching.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Just ask, is that there will be some people asking that. Why not just leave it alone? Why not? I know you sort of answered that question, but why not leave it to E3 when Microsoft could announce all this at once? Are you diluting this for people?
Well, that's the thing, you see. I've got information that I haven't leaked purposefully because I want Microsoft to have those surprises. So I do... I don't like, because it's still fresh in my mind when, like, I can't remember which outlet it was now. It was either Eurogamer or Kotaku or something, but they leaked the PS4 Pro before it was announced, which totally took the wind out of the sails of that console. Totally obliterated it. And when the PS4 Pro was announced, everybody knew what it was. They knew the specs. They knew everything about it. It was kind of like, oh, so this is it, So if I did get some sort of groundbreaking stuff, I wouldn't leak it, because I'd want that to be a surprise for everyone in the community. So I do think about this stuff still, because it's still fresh in my mind, and I constantly ask myself these questions. Am I going to, like, 5-8 years down the line, am I going to end up jaded and just think about the hits all the time and stuff like that?
Got to get them clicks, baby.
Yeah, that's the thing. People say like, oh, you clickbaiting, but I got a salary, so like I get paid whether I post this stuff or not. But I just genuinely thought it'd be of interest to people, and it seems like I was right. So I think it's really easy to get disconnected from what gaming is supposed to be all about when you are a games writer and media in general. Like, there is this disconnect between the higher echelons of video game journalism, like your IGNs and your Polygons and stuff like that. I do genuinely think there is a disconnect between what they do and what they see their job as, and what gamers are really interested in. I do think there's some disconnect there in some way. Not for everyone, maybe, but there is a bit of a disconnect there. And so I really want to approach this from the mentality of I'm still 100% a gamer. I just also enjoy writing on the side, and you know, I don't want to damage Sony or damage Nintendo or anyone, because competition is what keeps this industry healthy, and that's why Microsoft themselves recognize that. You know, the Xbox One is what it is today because of how hard Sony have pushed them to catch up. You know, and
yeah,
I think.
Just look at Sony's announcement just today, or was it yesterday, that they're going to bring PS4 games to PS Now as a blatant reaction to Microsoft
on PC, yeah, on
yeah,
PC, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, competition is great. Yes.
It is. It's really interesting. This industry is just amazing. You know, it's absolutely amazing. So, I'm always happy to do these podcasts. I'm quite active on Reddit as well, and always active on Twitter. And I do want to stay with that frame of mind that, you know, I just want to be a gamer.
So let's draw another episode of Party Chat to a close. Rhys, I believe we've got an exciting guest coming next week.
Yes, we have someone from Microsoft coming in next week, Miss Pamela Wang, who was the community manager for both Scalebound and Recore and Age of Empires. So she will be very interesting to talk to. So please tune in next week for that one.
Rhys and Jez, thank you so much for taking the time out to join us this week, and make sure you can check out Jez on windowscentral.com. Yes. But for another week, Xbox turn off.
You're listening to Xbox One Party Chat Podcast, the official podcast of the Xbox One subreddit.
Let's do this.
Wait, to be fair, if I seen someone with a Windows phone, I'd be like, Rhys? No.
No,
Jez? No.
Listen. You hear that? That's the sound of excellence.
I couldn't hear anything, to be honest.
Damn it. That was the unlock sound. Wait, hold on. Hey, Cortana, sing me a song.
Oh, God.
Can't hear anything.
Don't you have to ask her in Finnish?
No, of course not. There's no Finnish Cortana. Did you hear her singing?
No.
What? She was singing.
We can't hear her.
I had the microphone up to I've just ruined this joke. It's all it's okay.
Yeah, that went down really well.
Just 2-bit UK Cortana anyway. So it's fake.
Nah, UK Cortana sucks.
Yeah.
I wish we had American Cortana. Jen Taylor Cortana. Well, this British knockoff Cortana.
I thought you said genitalia, not Cortana. I was like, what?
Does Australian Cortana have an Australian accent?
I don't know.
That's a localization for you.